All right, let's get right into it. What we're talking about today is, frankly, the biggest shakeup to the EU's financial crime enforcement we've seen in 2 decades. And trust me, this isn't just some minor policy tweak, it's a massive strategic shift. And that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? For anyone doing business in or with the European Union, this is the million-dollar question. The loopholes are slamming shut, and you've got to ask yourself, are you going to be locked in or locked out? So who's behind this massive change? Well, it's time to meet the new sheriff in town, the powerful new player on the block, the Anti-Money Laundering Authority, or AMLA. To put it simply, AMLA is the EU's new top cop for financial crime. You know, for years, the big problem was that every country had slightly different rules, creating all these gaps. AMLA's job is to slam those gaps shut and create one single, tough rulebook for everybody. The days of fragmented enforcement are over. And it's no coincidence that it's based in Frankfurt. That's the home of the European Central Bank, the heart of European finance. Putting AMLA there sends a crystal clear message. Fighting dirty money is now at the absolute core of the EU's entire financial system. Now, let's be really clear about this. Creating AMLA isn't just about adding another agency to the org chart. No. This is a fundamental rewiring of how the EU polices its own financial markets, a total power shift. And this slide lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got the old way, a messy patchwork of 27 different rulebooks. This basically let companies shop around for the easiest country to operate in. But on the right, that's the new reality. One supervisor, one set of rules, one standard. Those loopholes, they're gone. So how's AMLA going to make this happen? Well, it's got a brand new, very powerful toolkit. First, it can issue standards that are binding. These aren't just friendly suggestions, they're the law. Second, it can run investigations across multiple countries at once. And third, and this is the real game changer, it can actually step in and take over if a national regulator is dropping the ball. So you see, the crucial point here is that AMLA doesn't just guide or advise. It has real teeth. It has escalation powers, which means it can directly intervene and even override national authorities. It is, without a doubt, the new final word on financial crime in the EU. Okay, so that leads us to the really big question, right? Who exactly needs to be sitting up and paying very close attention right now? AMLA is going to directly supervise the firms it considers the highest risk. So we're talking about the big banks that operate across borders, those fast-moving fintech and payment companies, and, yep, crypto providers are on the list. And here's a big one. This also applies to any company outside the EU that wants access to the European market. But hey, even if your firm isn't on that direct supervision list, you are definitely not off the hook. Think about it. The pressure is going to ripple outwards. The big banks, under AMLA's microscope, will have to tighten up their standards, which means everyone they do business with, family offices, investment funds, you name it, is going to face way tougher scrutiny. And really, it all boils down to this single idea. Access to the EU market now requires demonstrable, group-wide AML discipline. It's not good enough anymore to just be compliant in one country. Your entire global operation has to be up to snuff. This is the new price of admission. So let's talk about what this really means for business. What's the impact on the bottom line? Because this power shift comes with some very real, very tangible consequences. Let's just break it down. Your compliance costs, yeah, they're going way up. We're talking serious investments in new tech, more compliance staff, bigger audit teams. The amount of scrutiny you'll be under, it's going to be deeper, and inspections will be way more frequent. And if you mess up, enforcement is going to be swift, decisive, and a whole lot tougher than what we've seen before. The key takeaway here is incredibly simple. The whole idea of finding a country in the EU with a lighter touch on regulation, that era is officially dead and buried. The bloc's tolerance for fuzzy compliance has basically dropped to zero. And all of this brings us to the final and most critical question. It's the one every single business leader, investor, and compliance officer should be asking themselves right now. Here is the ultimate takeaway, the one thing you need to remember. What used to be a local check-the-box formality has now been elevated. It's not a suggestion, it's a fundamental condition of your license to operate anywhere and everywhere in Europe. AMLA is up and running. Its very first enforcement actions are going to send a powerful signal about just how aggressive it's going to be. The watchdog is live, it's watching, and the only question left is, when it finally decides to bite, will you be ready?